Okay, I think there's a definite need for us to actually tune into this one because this is not just a doozy, but let me just be absolutely clear about this. Anything related to news and streamers or anything else just makes me really think. Basically, Johnny Somali's trial is upcoming. Considering that, well, he keeps delaying shit, okay? And yeah, things are happening. I'm going to be watching this video called Breaking. Johnny Somali's BF, Hank, can't escape Korea anymore. Basically, what he's doing is that he's locking in. This is a video from Myst, M-Y-S-T. He had been delivering us pieces of news in relation to Mr. Johnny Somali himself. He also delivered news about Vitaly Zdorovatsky during April. So, yeah, give big props to this guy. Anyway, let's see what he has got to say about this one today.
You go. So he's already planning. You can see this right now, guys. He's already planning his exit to China. You see it in the way he says it. He's like he wants to get this side behind him, ready to get out. And we're going to talk about the timeline. He may not. He's planning to move to China so quickly. The case might not even be over. It might be very difficult to do that with a felony. China tends not to like felonies.
Hank Yu is now on the verge of facing a travel ban. You might be shocked or think this is fake information about the Hank Yu and Johnny Somali man.
Yeah, considering that Johnny Somali himself has already been travel banned by South Korea, Hank Yu, who keeps covering for Ramsey, Khalid, Johnny Somali, Ismael, would also be eventually facing that same travel ban. And once Hank Yu has been banned from traveling outside of South Korea, he is trapped. He himself will be going down with Ramsey, Khalid, Johnny Somali, Ismael, and that's what we want. Okay, let's just be real. That is what we want.
Mess, but what you'll find in this video will totally shock you. Yes, you heard that right. As you know, Hank Yu was ready from the beginning to go to China. But now, new rumors and reports are swirling that Hank Yu actually tried to flee. This time, however, he can't do that, and he might face a travel ban.
He's already planning his exit to China. You see it in the way he says it. He's like he wants to get this behind him.
Here's why. Hank Yu is now under investigation, and he helped Johnny Somali in a lot of crimes. With charges piling up, it's very possible that Hank Yu could face new charges alongside Johnny Somali. Do you think South Korean authorities will just say, sure, Hank Yu, you can go to any country anytime? Definitely not. South Korean authorities are already against Hank Yu, and this time he's very likely going to face a travel ban. Exactly how and why? I'll show you the proof. Stay tuned until the end. Now, how is Hank Yu actually getting a travel ban? I'm going to show you all the reasons, but first watch this.
Basically, I think it first starts with the request of his parents towards South Korean authority. Probably I think it's the parents who first did that, made the actual topic of a travel ban for Hank Yu possible.
Here, Hank Yu claimed that he never invited Johnny Somali to South Korea, but in reality, he welcomed Johnny Somali and agreed to be his ally while Johnny Somali was brutally provoking and disrespecting Japanese culture. This is exactly why Hank Yu supported him. Just listen to him yourself.
You're the one who invited him here.
No.
No?
I was not. Like there are rumors like that, but I was not the one who invited him here. I do believe that's like one of it.
You keep welcoming Mr. Ramsey Khalid Ismael yourself, bro.
Is like
Stop lying.
Said, yo, go to Korea.
Then how did you get in touch with him once he arrived here?
I realized that he was in Korea, and I thought what he did in Japan was based.
What did he do in Japan?
Hiroshima, Nagasaki, we're gonna do it again.
Did you see that? How shameless can someone be? Hank Yu saw Johnny Somali disrespecting another country's culture, and instead of condemning it, he stood by him. It's no surprise. People with a criminal mindset often choose their partners in crime like this, and that's why they end up as felons. So when a country sees someone who openly disrespects other nations, provokes others, and even disrespects South Korea multiple times, why would they allow that person to flee without consequences?
Sure.
That's why authorities have launched an investigation against Hank Yu and are reportedly warning him not to try to escape. And now, in this video, Legal Mindset also talked about this issue. You can hear it for yourself.
So he's already planning. You can see this right now, guys. He's already planning an exit to China. You see it in the way he says it. He's like he wants to get this side behind him, right? This is why I'm saying it's goodbye to Hank. You can see in this voice, he's like ready to go to China. He's ready to get out. And we're going to talk about the timeline. He may not. He's planning to move to China so quickly, the case might not even be over. Especially if Johnny appeals it, especially if he fights it, whatever else, especially if a new case comes in and he has to fight a separate trial. Like Johnny may be like still like fighting his court case at that point. We don't know right now, or it might be serving a sentence. But the point is, he's not going to be sitting there waiting for Johnny.
How can Hank Yu just wait for Johnny Somali while knowing full well that if the investigation finds even a shred of evidence, more charges could pile up? If that happens, it won't just be Johnny Somali facing prison. Hank Yu could also be caught in the consequences.
Exactly, which is why before Johnny Somali's case ever matures, Hank will have to clear out of South Korea. Thing is, they're also keeping an eye on him. So there's no doubt that they've already started to anticipate that he might actually start to escape South Korea. So let me just be clear. I think they're already keeping their eyes on him, and they are ready at any time to pounce at him at any time that he would make an attempt to do that.
He knows exactly how many secrets and shady crimes he committed with Johnny Somali. That's why he welcomed Johnny Somali to South Korea and gave him the influence to do all of this in the first place.
I realized that he was in Korea, and I thought what he did in Japan was based.
Now, as Hank Yu watches everything
Based. You do know that he incriminated himself by actually crossing lines, breaking rules, breaking the law. That's not being based. That's testing people's patience and limits. Considering that it is against ruling and it is against the law, that's not being based, bro.
unfold, it's not going the way he expected. He thought the court would simply sentence Johnny Somali and leave him out of it. But instead, the court, police, and legal authorities have started new investigations that include Hank Yu himself. With so much pressure closing in, how long can Hank Yu really sit and wait for Johnny Somali to not leave South Korea instantly? And as this pressure grows, who knows if Hank Yu will end up falling just like Gina, another ally of Johnny Somali. But one thing's for sure, China will not easily take Hank Yu in. Here's why.
Right? He's not going to be sitting there waiting for Johnny. We're going to talk about him going to China and all this other stuff. I mean, one thing I'll say is this. If he's accurately reporting his felony, going to China may be pretty hard. So I don't know whether he pulled strings.
If you have a criminal case that is ongoing within Asia, you will not be easily allowed into China upon entry. They might not even flight detail. They might only hold you at the airport where you're supposed to be, and you're not going to cross into China.
Or he greased the wheel, or if he hasn't applied yet. But it might be kind of difficult to get into a program he wants to study in China. It might be very difficult to do that with a felony. China tends not to like felonies.
So that's how Hank Yu is now desperately trying to flee to China. But South Korean authorities are not about to let him leave easily. Reports are coming in showing that Hank Yu faces a possible travel ban. Authorities may block him from leaving South Korea until Johnny Somali's sentencing and the child welfare investigation are concluded. This is a sharp move from the authorities. They don't want Hank Yu leaving the country. If he even tries, South Korean authorities can impose a travel ban immediately. But the investigation. Hank Yu has never completed his mandatory military service in South Korea.
Yep. And if he's never completed mandatory service and he is due to actually complete it, yeah, that is more of a reason that he, and then add a felony case to him. He's in a position here.
Yet he has publicly said multiple times that he wants to join the US military instead.
I wanted to join.
Shut the hell up. You got deported from Texas. You got deported from the United States, bro.
I wanted to be a ranger.
This is seen as shameful and disrespectful to South Korean authorities because Hank Yu is a Korean national, born in South Korea, not...
Yeah, exactly. You had your chance to be mature in the United States. You had your chance to be mature in the United States, to live well over there. But you ruined it. You ruined it, bro. You ruined your chance to be mature. And when you got deported from the United States because of your bullshit, do you think that people are ever going to give you a chance ever again? Hank, do you think people are ever going to give you another chance? No. It's natural that they will never give you a chance again. They should never give you that chance again.
Not an American. Rejecting mandatory military service while openly saying he would serve another country's army is viewed as a betrayal. By confirming he is capable...
And yeah, you're still in South Korea, and you are wishing that you want to be in another country's military instead. When you are due for military service in your own home country, yes, you are by definition
of military service, but refusing to do it in South Korea, Hank Yu has added another layer of controversy to his name. For the authorities, this is not just about crimes with Johnny Somali, it's about national loyalty, and that's why they're keeping a tight grip on him. With all these factors combined, Hank Yu may not be able to flee at all, without any kind of chance. South Korea will definitely not let Hank Yu go easily. He has disrespected South Korea multiple times, including mocking South Korean culture directly on camera. Yu has also live-streamed or posted content criticizing or mocking South Korean police, prosecutors, and government actions. In a country with strict defamation and insult laws, this alone can be used as grounds for investigation.
Wow.
Also trigger immigration red flags. For example, in this video, watch how he disrespects the South Korean flag. Actions like this only make authorities more determined to keep him under...
Yeah, he keeps being a friend to Ramsey, Khalid, Johnny Somali, Ismael, and then everything that he does against South Korea, it will cost him as a citizen. They will force him to be a nationalist. If he cannot be a patriot, the least they can do is force him to be a nationalist, and then eventually break his personality until he says no to anyone else except his country. I think that's a better thing for South Korea. Honestly, he is better off without Ramsey, Khalid, Johnny, Somali, Ismael.
Control.
You know what? Fuck this. That's more like it, right? Hell yeah.
By kicking his own flag and
Yeah, exactly. He's basically dooming himself by actually allowing this footage to remain. He's dooming himself.
saluting another, Hank Yu went beyond disrespect. This is outright offensive. When South Korean authorities discovered that Hank Yu was spreading lies and propaganda about South Korean history and culture, they began taking him seriously. They actually saw clips where Hank Yu lied about the Statue of Peace and misrepresented South Korea's history, and that's when the authorities realized the full extent of his actions.
These like metal statues of kidnapped Korean teenage girls who were made to serve as slaves for the Japanese military during World War II. But the history is not even clear that whether they were slaves or willing.
There's still debate on it. If you go to Japan, they say that didn't happen. Some people say it's not a political stance. But technically, I feel like this live streaming is my expression. It's how I express myself. Yes. It's an art form to me.
There are limits to what you should do when you are streaming in public. You should have taken that clue the first time the police came to you. You should have taken that clue. But no, that's not what you did.
So when Hank Yu said the history of the Statue of Peace isn't clear, why did he say that? Let's be honest, it's obvious he's just trying to defend Johnny Somali. He's making excuses, downplaying something that holds deep meaning for South Koreans. But let me tell you, I don't agree with him at all. The Statue of Peace isn't just some random sculpture. It's a powerful symbol of Korea's independence, a tribute to the brave sacrifices made by so many people. It represents pain, survival, and national pride. And for Hank to casually question his history, that's disrespectful. So now that all of this has been seen by South Korean authorities, there's no way Hank Yu can leave South Korea easily without facing consequences.
Yes.
That's how Hank Yu is now facing a travel ban if he tries to escape. As you can see, Hank Yu is cornered from all sides. Between the investigations with Johnny Somali, his attempts to flee, his disrespect towards South Korea, and all the lies he spread about history and culture, there's no easy way out for him. The authorities are watching closely, and a travel ban could just be the beginning. Now the question is, what will Hank Yu do next? Will he try to fight the system, or will the law finally catch up with him? Whatever happens, one thing is clear. Actions have consequences, and Hank Yu is about to face them. So tell me, do you think Hank Yu will manage to escape, or is South Korea finally going to make him face the consequences?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's just be absolutely clear. I don't think he has a chance to ever get away from South Korea, because if this has been a long time coming, ever since Alex Novell had published that documentary. Let's just be real. Ramsey Khalid Ismael should never have done the documentary in the first place. That exposed the worst bits of not only Ramsey Khalid Ismael himself, but also Hank Yu. The two of them have been heavily exposed in the actual documentary, and it never does anything good to help them both. So they are both screwed, beyond screwed, actually. Both beyond screwed. We are on the first reaction video with a fast facts version of Legal Mindset's live stream from before, and this is a recent video that was recently published. So yeah, we're going to watch this regardless. Okay, even if we did not watch the live, we at least have this. So this Johnny Somali risks jail for life. This is actually the name of the video. So let's see where we are with this. Oh boy.
Johnny Somali could be jailed for life. Today on this update on the Johnny Somali, aka Ramsey Khalid Ismail case, we're going to talk about a potential path, a potential future where Johnny Somali might be facing life in prison, and that is not hyperbole. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney, and this is Legal Minds, where we teach you to be your own judge. And this is one that I spent a last 2 weeks kind of vetting, going over. I moved the topic for the stream that's adjacent to this. And of course, this is a fast version, facts version. If you like the brief and dirty, quick version of the latest in legal news, make sure you smash the like button in the comment below. But in the live, we'll go into further details and have extra stuff. So if you want to go and check that out as well. But when I saw this come across my desk, I went out, asked the lawyers in Korea, asked people knowledgeable in this. And when I found out there's a real possibility, I needed to bring this to your attention. Now, I typically am only focusing on legal stuff, but this is a legal silver bullet that could hit Johnny Somali if he plays his cards wrong. So let's just jump right into it today with this. Of course, I have a PP. I got a PowerPoint here for you today. So as a quick update on what's coming next, because some people keep asking me wherever I go, when's the next trial? October 29th, 2025. Now, that trial will focus on 3 witnesses. We know one of them is Bong Bong. We know another is Young Man. And the last we are pretty sure is Hank Yu. Yes, that's right, Hank Yu. And he'll be called as a prosecution
Next trial
witness
is on
in
October
America.
29,
He's
not of
what's called as
September.
a hostile witness. So
Aw.
you're bringing that person up mostly to validate evidence or validate their presence, saying, hey, is that you in this photo? Is that you in this video? So that is possible to come up in the next trial. And then you would have, of course, cross-examination. You'd have a redirect or re-examination. We also found out that Dalgoon is not testifying. So we wanted to correct that because previously we thought it was going to be Dalgoon, but actually it looks like it's going to be Hank. So that's what we got on October 29th. This is going to be a big day because remember, every single trial that we've had coming up over the past year for Johnny Somali, right before the trial, right before, whether it's 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even 1 week, he's been hit with a new charge. And this has been very consistent.
Oh boy.
Pro-Somali simps will say, oh, it's not going to happen. Legal Mindset's making it up. Legal Mindset's making it up. Every single time we're proven right. Now, this time it is a strong inkling, but the road really depends on what Johnny Somali does. So, and also depends on some world events. So we'll get into that today. So right now, just so you know, this is the current status. He's got 4 obstruction of business, all of which he's pled guilty to, 2 minor offenses act, both of which he's pled guilty to, and he's pending the deepfakes. Really,
There are more guilty pleas than not guilty.
And
The ones that he's not going to plead guilty to are the deepfake counts. Are the deepfake ones? Yeah, he is risking way too much. Remember, he may have not made these deepfakes himself, but he distributed the deepfakes himself anyway. You should not have an excuse when it comes to deepfake content, especially as it includes anything that has a sexual nature in it. Okay? Actually pleading not guilty. If not to manufacturing the deepfakes, you are pleading not guilty to distributing. That is absolutely going to destroy you, Ramsey, Khalid, Ismael. That is absolutely going to destroy you. Oh my god. I do not feel sorry one bit.
pending the deepfakes. Really, this is about the deepfakes. And he's facing currently 12 years max under the guidelines. Now, mind you, as these additional counts pile on, if he was to get another count of obstruction, etc., it doesn't change the maximum, but it does push the minimum up closer to the max. So yes, additional counts, yes, they don't increase the max, but they increase the likely sentence. So his likely sentence keeps going up and up under the Korean sentencing guidelines.
Ramsey Khalid Ismael would still go to jail even if he appeals. Yeah, he's screwed.
Currently, it's at 12. We'll talk about how it could get to life. So this is the
his reputation as a streamer and as a person who is supposed to be viral. His reputation is basically over. It's basically over for him.
The Somali side.
He to himself, okay? He did this to himself. I am going to say it. I said it once and I'm going to say it again. I do not feel sorry one bit. He did this to himself.
Michael, we've talked about this. If you're a fan of watching the Ramsey Khalid Ismael trial, you know about this, but it's important to kind of refresh your memory. So what used to happen with Johnny Somali is he would act out, rage would ensue, nobody would cover it, and the heat would die down, he'd escape, and then go do it again. He'd be released out of the country, etc. Well, as we've been covering it, we've been seeing him act out, rage ensues, we cover it, it goes viral, and the pressure on him increases. Now, I have said, and I do
it keeps going on a cycle.
On the parts of this, not drama, not other stuff, not Discord stuff. No, none of that. I'm focusing on the law. And today we're going to talk about the law. But what's very important here is that we are at the part cycle where he is very close to acting out. And there are a bunch of signals that show he's getting that itch. It's been months since his last incident, and he just can't control himself. And he's been sending some signals that he wants some attention, that he might be acting out again. And I feel that could even happen next trial. And that would be a massive, massive error. We're going to talk about that today. So what are some of the factors here? Well, one of the big factors, this one ties into geopolitical events, is immigration raid against Korean workers in Georgia. Now, why would that affect Korea? Why would that affect Johnny Somali? Let me explain this to you. So these South Korean workers in Georgia were subject to an ICE raid. And what happened?
Yeah. When I heard about this news about South Koreans not being done justice because of an immigration raid at the Hyundai plant in Georgia, which was supposed to provide jobs for thousands of them, was raided by immigration. It was raided by immigration. So basically, someone up that there were illegals, there were immigrants who were actually in the factory, but she didn't say at all that they are actually trainers for for the state of Georgia, for Americans in the state of Georgia, so that they get the jobs. not the South Koreans. So the very big miscalculation there forced a chain reaction in which not only are the netizens, not only are internet peoples in South Korea enraged because of this, but politicians are also talking in regards to cutting ties economically. Basically, they want to cut investment. They are talking about wanting to cut investment. So Hyundai is only the beginning. Anything that is remotely South Korean related to America is in danger of getting cut off, all because of that single raid that happened in Georgia. And this is thanks to someone who is living so much under a rock, always listening to the echo chamber that immigrants are bad and foreigners are bad for the American economy. That they are so stupid and not seeing the big picture of things. So basically, South Korea wants to try and slowly wind down its investments on US. So yeah, this is one of the events that Johnny Somali is acting out on because he wants attention. He wants to keep discussions open in regards to these events. So I think this is what Andrew is saying here. So yeah, I do not like what happened to the South Koreans there at the Hyundai plant. Seriously, if they actually pull out of American investment, that'll actually be good for them, and that'll actually be the biggest middle finger against the United States. So yeah.
Happened with them is they were operating and working under impermissible visas. So in case you guys know, it's a little bit complicated, but people who live abroad like me and other folks know this very, very well. When you are somewhere, you need to make sure you are working under the right visa and doing the right type of work that you are authorized to do. So for example, if you are authorized to teach English, you cannot go be a car mechanic. You are not authorized to do that. That's beyond the scope of your authorization. Now, some work authorizations are very broad. Some are more limited, like, for example, just to teaching. Others might give you more free range. And some of them, for example, say, hey, you can work remotely and do pretty much anything. So, hey, that's cool, whatever. Right. And this was such a bad incident that the U.S. diplomat to Korea had to express regret over that raid, because what happens in these instances is it's tit for tat. Korea will now look, hey, how can we crack down on Americans to get back at America? Or
oh no, they're going to think of doing the same thing. Immigration raids. Basically deny Americans any opportunity to actually teach working South Koreans. Oh boy. Oh boy, this is going to end up worse. If it happens, bro, but oh boy.
we're not even saying get back. That sounds too revengeful. It's just, hey, okay, we're going to be visas. We're going to do that too. It's equal fair treatment, right? Fair play. If you're going to crack down on Korean workers,
South Koreans have the means to do that.
Other visas, which didn't really authorize them to work. Hey, we're going to look at Americans in Korea and say, hey, how can we crack down on them? And that would be very, very easy to do. Why? Because many Americans are working in Korea either without a work visa or earning under the wrong visa. And the most likely target, the one that people have to worry about for, and I know, by the way, a lot of you watching the Somali coverage are international school. Maybe you're international school students, international school teachers. Guys, pay attention, because this is something you guys really, really, really want to know. So what I would imagine is this would be the low-hanging fruit. Everybody knows there's a bunch of teachers in Korea. That's one of the biggest professions.
Oh boy, yes.
Particularly
the education sector.
So the easiest thing would be to look at teachers, especially international school teachers, and say, hey, are they teaching non-permitted subjects? What does this mean? What this means is these teachers are only permitted to teach English. They're only supposed to teach English.
That's true, yeah.
However, some of them are doing stuff like teaching math. Maybe they're teaching, medieval swordsmanship.
Yep.
Maybe they're teaching some extracurricular.
Not looking good for their visas if they teach those things. Yeah.
They're doing something beyond what they should be doing. So if Korean immigration really wanted to look hard, they would go into the schools, go into international schools, go into others, and go knock.
And then just terminate.
You're not teaching what you should be teaching. They just do a random check of the schools.
Yep.
And that would be a big problem, because there are a lot of people doing that. And by the way, it's not.
Yep. That's what Andrew meant by tit for tat. If Americans are allowed to crack down against South Koreans just because, even if it was a mistake, South Koreans are also allowed to crack down against Americans who are being, it's just, yeah. This is a mess. This is an absolute mess.
Not a bad thing necessarily on the teachers themselves. Sometimes they're told by the schools to do it, and the schools like turn a blind eye, or they know that they're bending the rules, right? These things happen.
A second, I don't think this is because if this actually does relate to Johnny Somali in a way, now I get it. Your visa must have a purpose, right? You can be a student visa as a means of being a student or a tourist, both. Okay? You cannot do both. There is a purpose for your own visa. There is a purpose for your stay. And if authorities find out that you are doing something to the reason that you're staying, they will crack down against you. And considering that Ramsey Khalid Ismail has a case in South Korea, he's in a much worse position because he is doing things that he is not supposed to do when his visa has a specific reason for allowing him to stay in the first place. So, yeah, worse position for Ramsey Khalid Ismail. Worse position.
But Korea could look at this and say, hey, that's the same thing you did to us in Georgia. We're going to do this over to you here in Seoul, in Busan, in Suwon, and that would be very, very bad. But what they could do instead, and, I know that people who are, in the Korean system, in the Korean government, in the Korean influencers, they watch my channel. I know these videos are going to get the word out there. I know people are going to spread this. What they could do is crack down on streamers instead. Right? Nuisance streamers are a huge problem. And if you really want to go tit for tat and you want to make, do something that'll matter, crack down on people streaming without proper permits, without either a digital nomad visa or...
Because even if Americans are already pushed out from the educational sector, if South Korea is given more reason to crack down against foreigners who give them injustices in their home countries, South Korea can do so much more damage to those same foreigners on the on the nationalities concerned. Basically, American. In this case, Americans. They have legal reason and they have legal opportunity to crack down against Americans here. Considering that South Korea now has an XO.
On some sort of other visa that allows for...
And that's within their absolute right. That is absolutely within their right.
Or remote work, you could do that. And obviously, if you did that, who would be a clear target? Johnny Somali. He's been streaming, he's been making money, he's still, in certain ways profiting off of social media and off social media exposure. So obviously they could go after him. Now, what would that be? Likely a fine. Maybe there could be a charge there. Immigration works separately from the criminal process, and it often doesn't want to do that much. It's kind of a little bit of, hey, we'll do something when he hits the border, but not yet. But they might feel like they need to do something to show, hey, we're doing something in response to what happened in America. So if they wanted to do that, obviously they could hit Somali with a fine. That's one thing, right? But there's another. And there's a life in prison option, and it's not from immigration.
Yeah.
Before I get to this, make sure you hit the like button, guys, and like the video. I put a lot of work into these, and this PowerPoint today, this research took a very, very long time. So just let me know you appreciate it through a like. It's free. Okay. By the way, we may or may not have cabbage merch coming.
Cabbage. Okay.
Prison may happen. The Youth Sexual Protection Act. So let me tell you about this act. It protects children and adolescents. This means youth that define it.
The latte world thing is definitely another hard hitter, and he pled guilty. He pled guilty to the latte world thing, so he's pretty much screwed regardless.
Under 19 years old. And I know it's different from America. America's 18, right? There's different rules, but under this act, it is 19 years old. There are numerous crimes against youth and children that are included within this parameter, within the parameters of this. And one important thing is it defines youth and sexual exploitation material in such a way that could include the Statue of Peace. That's right.
Oh boy. And the Statue of Peace into the equation. Yep. Mr. Ismael is screwed beyond reasonable doubt.
Statue of Peace. That is the depiction of a young girl that is 14 years old. We're going to go over, we'll get to that. And that's included. Let's read this statute in this article. Under Section 5, it says child and youth sexual exploitation material refers to material depicting a youth or
depicting media, basically monuments. Yep. Mr. Ismael is screwed. The statue is included. And it's a direct representation of... Oh boy. He is screwed.
A person or representation that can be clearly recognized as a youth performing any of the acts listed in each subparagraph Article 4, or performing any sexual in the form of film, video game, image, or video through a computer. So what this means is the statue is a representation of a child. So if Johnny Somali goes out there throwing baby oil on it, right, doing a Diddy dance, calling it a Diddy party, right, and escalating, once again, he moved from kissing to grinding to dancing. If he goes out there and simulates,
I'm saying it again and again and again, he is beyond screwed.
and based on his latest post, it seems like he even intends to do this, to go out and escalate once again.
He keeps escalating it back then.
And that
It's going to be a nightmare for him.
read this carefully.
A legal nightmare.
Any person who produces, imports, or exports child, youth, sexual exploitation materials shall be punished by imprisonment for
life.
or for a term of not less than 5 years.
Oh, shit.
Less than 5 years.
It's in the law. He's screwed.
Let's talk about this. Now, the Statue of Peace clearly represents a comfort woman who was sold into slavery by the Japanese military, and it depicts a young teenage girl. They chose to depict a 15-year-old girl to represent the victims at the time they were taken. This is a person under 19, fits the definition of the statue. At this point, there is no excuse for Johnny Somali. He knows what this represents. He said he knows what this represents. We're in the middle of the trial, so he can't deny knowledge.
Yep.
He's been told multiple.
He said yes, and he knows what it means. He is on the hook. Absolutely, he's on the hook for violating the Youth Sexual Protection Act. He's now on the hook considering that the statue's representation of the child is aged 15, basically below the legal consent age of 19. Beyond screwed. He is beyond screwed.
Multiple times. He's facing crimes right now, like multiple crimes, right? He knows this. So if he goes at this, it's with knowledge of what that represents.
Yep.
There's no more denying it. There's no more pretending. He's been on the record. He's been questioned about this. There's multiple comments. He knows it depicts a child. So if he goes out there and does that, that would fit the definition under the statute. Now, because he knows this and he's threatened to go back, he has been reposting videos about the statue. This is why I decided to bring this up. This is why it's in my live entitled Don't Do It, Somali, because he's thinking about doing it. It's clear he's thinking about going to that statue for clout. And the news cycle is getting to where he would act out of attention, whether for clout or boredom, whatever, right? And you can see here. Now, I would encourage none of you.
He is trapped. He is absolutely trapped. He should not do this, but he's thinking of doing it anyway, bro.
To go to his social media. Do not feed the troll. I just clipped out what is important for you. So you guys do not have to go here. Do not feed him. Do not give him views. Do not do any of that. But you see what he's posting here. I asked Korean girls what they think of the cover statue. And then my tribute at the Statue of Peace in Itaewon, right? So he's clearly, and he's reposting these. These are videos that he's choosing to repost just now in the past week or two. So what this symbolizes is he is thinking about that statue. He's thinking real hard about that statue and what he can do for attention, what he can do for clout, what he can do to get back on the map, to kind of get going, you know, and get everybody's attention again. This is something he is thinking about because he is choosing to repost these specific videos. Very, 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 very problematic. Now, if he goes to the statue and escalates the behavior, particularly simulating a sexual act, the prosecutors or judge could add this charge.
Yep. They're going to keep adding this up until it becomes a big snowball, that it would break his bones. It would render him lifeless under the gigantic snowball that he's dug, that he's actually made for himself, bro. He's making the snowball run him over until he breathes no more.
Now, to be very fair, this is a creative and new charge, but it is possible. So what I'm saying is, when I spoke to Korean lawyers, to the lawyers in Korea, to people with knowledge of the criminal system, they were like, wow, this is a possibility.
Yes.
It's creative. He would be the first, certainly the first foreigner charged with it. Possible. The way the statute reads, it's possible. It's possible. And if you push the judge and you show, and you're pushing Korea, you're pushing a point in which you really shouldn't be pushing. A point at which, hey, if you just went another way, you went another path, and we'll talk of today. There's another path for Johnny that he could do. If you went that other path, it would be one thing. But if you go down this path, you go down this bad path,
yeah,
you get it up to life or 5 years. And before I do that, let's just talk about this. And
a good path and a bad path. Okay.
You know, in light of the Charlie Kirk incident, you know, obviously very, very unfortunate. But I was watching some of the clips from his funeral, and you know, I was inspired, especially by Erica Kirk, to say, you know, even for Johnny Somali, let's give him one last chance to choose the good path or the bad path, right? Because everyone has a choice. And maybe Johnny even has one good person that's still speaking to him, and one good person in his life.
Yes.
I don't know who that is. I don't know who it is. Maybe
he's got to turn himself around. He has got to turn himself around and give people a message that he is not going to be what he was when he started out in Japan. The reason why this is all happening to him, that he is given a humongous legal nightmare he cannot escape from, is because he refuses to back down from his stancing into being a nuisance. He is refusing to back down from it. The only way this all stops is that he would have to acknowledge. He would have to acknowledge entirely that his stancing on the internet is a detriment to people's peace, is a detriment to what people actually would want. Good communication, good relationship. He's not fostering that. In fact, he's actually discouraging that he wants people to just look at him regardless of what they feel. He is shining himself under a bad light the more that he does questionable actions against the public. So yeah, is framing it right. Ramsey Khalid Ismael is running out of options. All he has to do is acknowledge everyone's backlash against him.
That can still talk to him and say, Ramsey, save yourself. And this is my honest opinion here, is his chance to save himself or to doom himself really comes down to, is he gonna end up doing this, acting as something else? Because if he chooses to do this, he is going down a dark and bad path. A very dark and bad path. And we have to choose between light and darkness. And this is his time, Ramsey, to choose the light path. And what is the light path? The light path here is you're better off changing your plea to guilty, admitting fault, sincerely atone, no fake apologies, no fake stuff, no sarcasm.
Exactly. He has to say sorry entirely.
Nothing else, and back it up by actions. And I know, we all know, that it's really hard to go down this path, especially for a person like him, especially for a person.
But it is worth it if he does go through the good path entirely without fail. If he fails only once, people are going to see it.
Who said the hardest thing, this is a Somali quote, he said the hardest thing for him is to apologize. Well, guess what? That's what it needs. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Even if apologizing is hard, you've got to do that because you gave yourself less and less of a reason to actually have people accept your apology, because you keep choosing to not be sorry for your actions, when in fact you should be sorry. You should actually apologize to the people you're actually hurting here.
Happen for you to choose that.
Basically, what he was doing this entire time, what he was doing before he was given that travel ban, he was being selfish. That's all what he was doing. That is all he was doing.
Path. And even if it takes destroying your old personas, destroying your old characters, and creating a new character, that's the good character, right? You've got to go down that path if you want to save yourself. And this is something that I find incredibly credible, because this was information that was filtered to me by sources that are probably coming from within Korea. And
oh yeah,
believe that my information, every time I've gotten something, it's because people are thinking about it. And they are thinking, this is possible. We could do this. Should we do this, right? And if he chooses that path, to go out there and harass that statue again and to commit an act on that statue,
he will never be able to recover once he does that. He will never be able to recover once he chooses that option. It's not even remotely supposed to be an option for him. He should prioritize his safety and well-being. He should prioritize ethics here. And common sense, bro. The more he thinks about doing it and the more he plans doing it, the more he becomes unreasonable, and that his path would be irreversible.
It is not going to be good. It's going to be very, 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 very bad. So we'll see whether or not he does that. Now, cabbage merch is coming, guys. So I just want to let that know at the end of this, a little bit of fun fact. But beyond that, I'm going to be covering the trial as it develops. Obviously, if there's any other big legal developments, I'll be on those. We will do a little bit of prep for the Somali trial at least a week or so before that in October, but we'll see what happens here today. I want you to know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think Johnny Somali will go out and will do this, or do you think he's going to stay quiet?
Honestly, he's surrounded. If he still goes to that statue and really just acts out the way he did before, he's never gonna recover from that. He will never recover from that.
Do you think he's going to hide?
He should be wise. It would be for him to just give it up, play out, without it making it more complicated for him.
On the next
one. Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
Okay, basically, hell yeah. That was it. That was actually it. Anyway, I think when it comes to any updates about Johnny Somali, fine. I think up to here it will be fine. And yeah. So, what have we learned today? Basically, Johnny Somali himself is beyond screwed. All he has to do is save himself. If he can't do that, what good is he?